All right, Jeremy here, Jeeps Unlimited, 303-666-9020. Been a crazy couple of weeks getting this yard completely switched around and still doing sales and managing guys and you name it. So busy. Of course, set a little time aside to do this video today, and I started to pick up wind. So I apologize. There's gonna be a little wind noise. All right, so what you're gonna see here in a minute is a couple tubs, and they're not gonna be like I normally do, whereas a real thorough video. Brand new is back. Let's see him pull back in. Because I'll have to do that on a different day when we get the washer up and going. But I do want to show these and give you a couple options for our Canadian customers. We've had a few calls. So we're going to grade our, well, we've always graded our tubs A, B's, and C's. Our A's are going to be perfect. There's not going to be a spot of rust on them. They're very clean. There's torque pockets are clean. There's no damage on them. Might get a couple dings on them, but really minor, and nothing. There is a ding on it. Nothing that's going to be in a closed area or boxing area, as I call it, which just means that it's like a blind hole. You can't really get into them. To pull the dent, you have to usually access a panel. And so boxing areas are often going to be like what you see here. If there was damage along outside of this, there's not, but if there was, you can see where that would be a little more challenging to get into. Whereas like if the lower rocker was damaged, you can get into that area pretty accessible. So that's what an A would be, okay? And a B is going to be pretty much the same thing, except for it's going to have more damage, and you might find yourself doing a little bit more invasive body work. Nothing, again, that's going to be like a devastating body panel, but something that potentially would be in one of those blind areas, or a boxing area, or a corner that's not just got a little dinger, it's got more of a push it. So as I go through them, I'll show you, and I'll do my best on giving you an example of what an A would be. This one is probably an A. I'll have to get it up in the air and visualize the torque pockets, but let's just say those are clean on it and there's no damage, which it doesn't appear to be. It's got some dirt in it. This stuff should all polish up real clean. The corners look clean. There's a little modification there, so we'll knock it down a little bit because that looks like somebody put a padlock on it to keep somebody from getting in the back. Yep, there's the wind. So try to shelter this phone the best I can. So hypothetically, if that thing comes out clean on the bottom, that would be your A there. This one, on the other hand, might be in the same shape. It's hard to say. It's got a lot more dirt in the bottom, so we'd want to get all this cleaned out of it and make sure the floors are solid. Oh, there you go, right there. So this one here, hypothetically, let's just say everything checks out. The torque pockets are good. There's no rust in the floors. Again, hypothetically, I haven't seen this one in its entirety, but you got a corner back here, and it's split right at the seam here, but definitely needs a corner replacement. And hypothetically, if it doesn't, that's all it is that corner, you could be looking at a low grade B on this one. That's pretty extensive damage. I don't want to discount what that is, but this would definitely put it into the lower range. Now, I already know this one's got other damage on it, and so we're not even going to say this is a B. This is definitely going to be one of our low grades, a C grade. And your C's, again, are going to be something a little bit more extensive repair, but something that may have rust in it, but not extensive rust. So this one I know has got a hole in the floor up here. Now, sometimes driver sides, especially if people had carpet in them and they went to the beach, that sand becomes abrasive underneath that carpet, and it can wear a hole through it. So hypothetically, if there's no rust on it, or very little rust on it, and the torque pockets aren't completely obliterated underneath, this could be a potential C. Now, in the case that we get into them where there's the torque pockets are blown out, there's still some solid stuff here, the corner's not good, the pans, you know, there's some issues there. Those are usually tubs that we would cut up. Sometimes we'll take the torque pockets out of, or sometimes somebody would call and say, hey, I just need a corner of them. We don't cut our tubs, but in the case of something like that, then we would cut them. Otherwise, they go to the scrap. I don't mess with trying to resell them. So with that said, Midwest, East Coast, you know, basically from like Calgary east in Canada, and then coastal areas, Oregon, California, some of those coastal areas out there. You guys are looking to build rock crawlers. You say, hey, I don't really want something that's pretty. I just want something that's good enough I can bolt my frame to, or build a chassis around. And in that case, in those ones, come get it. You can have the thing. So just keep that in mind. Now, it doesn't mean that those low grade ones aren't going to be, don't have some issues or don't have rust. We're not guaranteeing anything like that. It's a free tub in that case. So, you know, it is what it is. I'll do my best in showing it to you, but it is, after all, a free tub. And then when I haul stuff like that, I usually just charge a fee. You pay me for a haul fee if I'm doing a delivery. And again, the tub's yours if we have room for it. We try to make, obviously, those runs for tubs that we have money on, but there's always that chance. So A, B, C, that's what you're paying for. And then anything else really is a tub we potentially cut up or just scrap. And if you want to come get it or have somebody that can come get it or pay for the transport, I have no problem with that. We don't try to do a lot of those kind of tubs, so I can't tell you there's a lot of that out here, but there very well might be a few of them. Okay, this is another, this has got a really clean frame under it, but it did have a long arm kit on it, so they've lopped off the mount. So that frame should check out as a grade A. I've scoped the frame, but I haven't really done much else to this frame as far as anything else goes. I'm just showing you this one just as we're going through these. If you're going to be doing a long arm kit or some other kind of modification or suspension, save the money, because we knock these things down quite a bit from what we normally get on a 6-cylinder frame, and you can purchase, you know, a good frame, but again, without any mounts. So look into long arm kits and look at the directions, and you'll see what I'm talking about, what you have to modify in those. It's usually the control arm mounts, the lower control arm mounts that get lopped off. This tub, again, Colorado Jeep, so it should be nice and clean, but again, you can see the road rash. I mean, this thing was, they were, you know, wheeling in it out at Moab, so it's definitely going to have some road rash on it. And when we get it all stripped down, we'll know if it's got any rust in it. You really got to take off a lot of parts to get down to that. There's carpet in this one, obviously, so, but you see there's some damage there. There's a little damage up here, not too bad, but a little bit. And then there's, of course, the back here. So like this one, because of the damage there and because you can see it kind of right there too, this would be a C tub, as long as, again, it's rust free. And again, we won't know that until we get it peeled down, but this one would be a much cheaper tub option for somebody who's just building and is just looking for rust free. That's when you call us up and go, hey, look, I don't care about the damage on the body, I can fix that, or I don't care about that, I just want rust free and I want cheap. Okay, and those two do go hand in hand. So no damage, no rust. They're, you know, inexpensive to us because they take a lot to get tubs down, but may not be they may not be in your price range still. And, you know, in those cases, we just ask you to be a little more flexible. And if you don't want to be, that's fine. You don't have to buy from us. But I've been doing this for 21 years. We're really proud of what we've been able to accomplish out here with our frames, tubs, and just our overall yard. So this is our yard. We have 7 acres. We're located in western Colorado, and majority of our inventory, if not all of our inventory, comes from inland California. So we don't try to do anything along coastal areas. Nevada, Arizona, and then of course our own state, Colorado. Sometimes New Mexico, Wyoming, some of those states, but those states do use salt in some areas. And then of course everything out east of us is salt built. So we definitely have, we just stay away from those altogether from buying from. So, and then we split them off, 9701s, 02s are on their own, and then you got 03 to 06. Now that doesn't mean you can't interchange those tubs. There's very, very little modification to do those, one on the other or other on the one. There's plenty of videos we've put up over the years that explain the differences. For the most part, most people can get around those differences. Really, the only difference that becomes a little bit of an obstacle for anybody that doesn't know a little bit of fab is really the rear seat. Because in the 9702s, even though the 02 is on its own, 9702s uses this style seat here, and then the 03 to 06 uses a seat that doesn't go to the sides of the fender wells here. It goes just to the floor So that style there, you can see the mounts there. That's the 9702 seat style. That's this kind of looking seat here. That seat's pretty jagged, but and then I don't think I have this is another 9702. I don't have an 0306 out here. I do have a seat inside, and I don't know if, let's see, that one there is probably a later tub. Yeah, so there's no, so that's just a floor mounted. I don't have the brackets to show you guys, and again, this is not really the point of this video, but anyway, so 02 here, and no, not 02. This is 9701. That's not listed. So this one has not been posted yet. Some of these have sold, and I got to remember, I know the red one, I think the red one over there is gone. The black one over there is gone. And a couple up at the house. We got in our upper lot. We have another really clean yellow tub, like an A, I believe. That's up at the lot. And then this one here, once we get it washed out, of course, it's got a lot of mud and stuff in it, but if that all cleans out and there's no rust that appears anywhere here or the underside, which we'll do a full video of when we get it cleaned up, that would be considered an A, and then we'll price accordingly. And we never price in our videos, and why do you think that is? Well, after 21 years of you doing this, you can imagine we get calls all over the world, and usually people are finding videos that are, you know, sometimes 10, 15 years old. So I made that mistake in the very beginning, and sometimes, not very often anymore, as we've tried to get rid of those, but people will call and go, hey, I'm looking for this $1,000 tub, and we're like, oh, those have gotten a lot more expensive. So as they get older, they get less, you know, less supply of them, just like anything. They get more desirable to build. They just get, they go up, and just like anything goes up in cost. So the good news is that with COVID and all the inflation BS and all that other crap that's going on in the world, our prices on our tubs have been the same for the last 10 years. They really haven't moved much. I would say on the TJs especially, the YJs have gone up a little bit, but not a lot. And then CJ7s have gotten exorbitantly expensive for an original tub because they're next to impossible to find. I do get them every once in a while, but they are pricey. But they are an option for people when we do get them. So, okay, this tub here has a skew on it, but this one is sold. Matter of fact, this is a Michigan. This sold to a guy in Michigan. So that will get here. That will go out here fairly soon. And speaking of that, I have a trip coming up. So that's part of the reason I'm doing this video. Is we got it's going to be a Midwest. Right now, I'm not planning on going all the way to the East Coast. I do have a Maine tub that's got to go to Maine, but it's so far out of my way. I've done those runs before, Vermont, New Hampshire. If we get enough in the next 2 weeks that go that way, I'll make the run up. But right now, my farthest I'm planning is probably Ohio, maybe Pennsylvania. I love going out there, seeing a lot of our customers, but it's just going to be a really quick trip, and I got a small window to do it in. So Michigan, definitely going to be a big stop. We have several going out there. And then either I'm going into Canada or I'm going to have somebody meet us at the border and take into Canada. So if I'll verify with them that they're A, interested in doing that, make them a deal on a tub, and B, that they have the capacity to do that, obviously a trailer. But if that's the case, we've done that in the past. That's worked out really well. We pay them some money, help them out on what they're looking for, and then they usually haul up to inlet, inside of Canada for us. I'd actually love to come across, but again, my window is so close. If I have to go, I'm going to go, and I am going to put some ads up just in case. But that's what it's looking like right now. So, excuse me. So anyway. So this one sold. That should be an A. Again, we'll check it out, make sure. That's another A, or should be. That's I'm going to say not even gradable right now, because I believe the torque pockets, we'll flip it over and see. But I think that one has definitely got some issues with it. Would be a low grade. And maybe free, maybe something we would take off. Obviously, there's still some stuff we want off that thing. But might be something that we let go if somebody's wanting to just to meet us somewhere or take on. But again, I would not put any eggs in that basket until we get it done. And I don't plan on getting that one too cleaned up. I mean, I'm not going to go into that one and polish it, because it's, again, not something that I'm looking as any kind of residual on. So this one here, I'm thinking a C if it checks out. Low grade, but definitely something goes the baby. I'm sure she's awake now. And then this one sold, and then we'll go back to these guys down here. Now, this one here is a nice tub, and it checked out pretty dang well. This was one I had pre-sold, but when we went to pull the frame, it was a pre-dismantle. It had, if not, I think 1 or 2 torque pockets that were starting to collapse, and it's pretty clean on the underside. So I would still grade this one as like a C for somebody and give them a smoking deal on it. It does have a couple issues on it, but again, I mean, you can kind of see it, and I'll get it, like I said, I'll get it cleaned up a little bit more and get it actually posted. But I think everything else is pretty damn nice in this thing. So, and it may not be this one, but I'm pretty sure it is. So this one is pretty much gone. This is a perfect example of one we just kind of like that one down there. It was a rolled one, so it's crunched here, and you can see it really caved that side in. It even bent this back area. So we'll get what we can off of it. Still some parts on it we grab off that guy. Even the roll bar's tweaked, so I'd say this is probably a no-go for anybody, but you know, you never know. So again, that would be like a free one once we get it all what we want off of it. This is a CJ7 tub that's pretty gone. It's got quite a bit of rust in the sides. Somebody could definitely build a crawler out of this one. Structurally, it's got some good things on it, but it's not going to be any prom queen. Yeah, I would say very, very low grade. And CJ7's low grade on CJ7 might actually be something we'll ponder moving for, you know, $500 or something like that, just for cheap. Just because there is a little different. People like to build these into crawlers, and there's a, you know, but as a TJ that looked like that, I just get rid of it. We have a JK here. This is a 2-door JK off of a, is this the black one or green one? This is the green one. I think this is like a 15 that we did, and then we have a 08 down here, and there's pretty much the same on those guys. This is a 72 to 75. This is a tub we're cutting up. It's got some good parts left on it panel wise, but unfortunately it's pretty wasted. Here's a Chevy 06. It was a diesel, nice solid rust-free cab. We don't do a lot of trucks, but we do them every once in a while. It's got some damage on the passenger door, but we usually just sell them as a cab shell. And then here's this 08 black 2-door, and then we have that one's pretty. This is a tub we're cutting up. It had some damage on it. We've already cut some things on it, so yeah, somebody could definitely build the rest of this into something, but it's got quite a bit extensive work needs to be done on that one. And I have 2 really clean. There's one down here, 4-door JK, this silver one I haven't listed quite yet. And then I have another green 4-door up at the house. So, and they're both early. So, but again, they'll work on each other from all the way from 7 to 18 pretty easily. There's a couple differences, but by and large, that's not too hard to do. That one's gone. That one's gone. Those were sold a couple days ago. This one here is another one that, this is exactly a perfect example. So this would be a tub we're cutting up, and you go, oh, wait a minute, wait, why? Well, one thing, let me show you real quick. Look how clean the bottom of this thing is. It's absolutely spotless. And based on this, you go, well, why would you cut it out? Well, I'll show you here in a second. But the torque pockets are absolutely just beautiful on that thing. And the floor is. So, I mean, if somebody had one that just was thrashed in there, but they had really nice sides on it and didn't mind doing the work, or again, just want something that would attach to a body or, I mean, a frame and not give them any issues as far as holding. I mean, there's not one single broken bolt. Not one spot of rust. It's absolutely cherry in the bottom, and it's unfortunate because there's obviously some damage here. Look at, there's a lot of damage there. But more importantly, and I think it must be the side over here. I gotta pull this bracket. We sell those brackets. That's part of the reason it's sitting up like this. One of these, yeah. So it was rolled, and you can even see, look at the bars bent there. It's kind of pushed down a little bit in the back there, mainly on that side. Looks like it was just tipped on this side, but you can even see it's kind of buckled there. So this one would be a little bit, we'd actually sell this one as either a whole tub, or we'd sell it basically for what we sell these guys for. And those being as clean as they are, we can usually sell those and pull the rest of the box and areas out of this thing, plasma cutter, and get those off to somebody. Or like I said, if you'd like to buy something like that, I'll make you a smoking deal on that. If you can use it as it is, great. If you need to cut out what you're going to cut out, we'll let you do that. It usually is not cost effective for you to pay us to do it, because our rate is you buy the part, plus it's we do a 400 minimum for cutting, even if we cut out a square. Just something we try to really discourage. I mean, there's definitely, you know, that rate's not all that unreasonable when you're looking at a piece that may not be available, or somebody else is asking an arm and a leg, or, you know, done right. But we don't want to sit here and do that. It's just, we're just too busy of a yard, unfortunately, to do that. So we'd rather just ship you the whole thing and you cut out what you want, make a little better deal on it that way. All right, so that's basically it. Now I'm going to show you real quick this line. Then I got to go get on some requests that came through that I've been slacking on. There's a TJ here. This is probably a C tub. This happened here in Colorado. We don't buy a lot of wrecks, but what usually happens is our locals that wreck them, they'll bring them in. And this one had come down so hard on the back end, it broke the axle. She literally, it was a granddaughter of a customer of ours, jumped off of a ravine and landed like 40 feet down in a rock field. Crazy it did not roll. And it kind of just buckled everything. So there's, tub is super clean other than that. So, and it's hard to even tell. Honestly, you'd be pressed to see it on the tub side. There's a little damage on that tub, but mainly it was on that rear axle, took the brunt of it. And these are some old CJs here that are pretty beat. Not much left on these guys here. Maybe some good panels we have, but most of this stuff gets picked over pretty quick. This YJ here, we actually had this sold as a trade. That's why they're sold on it. But the guy called a few days ago and said that he was looking at something else as a project and was wondering if he could come in for other parts. So that one still is, that tranny sold today, the automatic out of it. But otherwise, that one's got, I mean, that's a sweet body. Somebody was going to build one. That would be a great one to build. It's completely rhino lined. It does have a little rust in it, not bad, but a little bit I've seen on it. And this was owned by a local guy, actually a friend of mine, police officer here in town. That's got a good tub on it, or should have a nice club. These are YJs. That one's obviously, this is another local guy owned Pine Country trailer here in town, and his son. It's always the kids, right? I went out in beautiful Jeep. This is a Sahara. It was gorgeous, 94, and then went out and rolled it like 30 times. Lucky he lived. This is a perfect example why I don't buy anything out of the Midwest. This was a local guy that moved here from Chicago and said he had a Jeep for sale and brought it in. I'm like, oh man, I mean, you towed it down here, I guess I'll give you something. We got some wiring out of it. It's been sitting here like this for like 5 years, and I almost just like to keep it because look how bad these things get. You don't see this stuff in Colorado, but man, you get out there, it's just, they're just absolute toast. There might be a little bit of parts left on this, but not much. Look at that dash, it's just crazy. People local come in and they're always like, what is that? Yep, that's what happens out in the Midwest, East Coast. So this is we got some really clean YJ tubs though right now. This is a nice clean one. That one's gonna be a mid-grade. It's got a couple dingers on it. This is a decent tub here. This is gonna be a nice tub here for a YJ. And another decent one. This 5 is actually usable. It's got a little damage, but for 5s, they're hard to come by. So, and another one here. And then of course this YJ is pretty clean. We got a nice TJ tub here, a couple dingers, but nothing big. This should be a nice clean A tub. Another black TJ tub, and then we got this XJ. We got a lot of XJs and that, all that in here. And I'm not even gonna go back there because you've really seen most of it. But I gotta get going, so I'm gonna upload this video. And so the dates are, right now it's, I think it's February 11th today, 2025. And my plan right now as it sits is the last week in February. We have my brother-in-law's birthday in Denver, which is a couple hundred miles from us. I'm gonna go down there for that. And then my wife's gonna stay in town. I'm gonna head out east and hopefully make my run up to Michigan, maybe into Canada, we'll see. But regardless, I do have orders that are going into Canada, whether it be me taking them or somebody else taking them. If you are in Canada and you happen to be in the Toronto area or even east of that, definitely give us a holler. This would be a good time of year to do that. It's we definitely can ship freight into Canada, but it does cost a lot more than either myself or somebody else hauling it. We got a good amount of frames right now. Unfortunately, not a lot of TJ frames. They go the quickest. These are YJ, a couple CJs, half of a JK, And we're doing, that's the reason you see all these pallets right now. We're doing a massive yard, completely like overhauling our yard. Everything is getting moved from here and over here temporarily while we move all our vehicles up against the hillside and kind of clean out the middle. And then we're going to put all our racking up in our front when we put up our new building here soon. So a lot of cool things going on out here. But yeah, anyway, again, Jeremy, Jeeps Unlimited, partsbreakers.com, 303-666-9020. And I look forward to working with each and one of you and meeting you if I can in person. And otherwise, we'll see you on the flip side.